line through to your conference call.
Start recording, and there we go. All right, good morning, top performers. This is Dr. Hank, and we're into our second session together and facilitation together, and this is going to be another area where you're going to hear information that you haven't heard before, you weren't aware of before, and so it's just going to help you, and it's helped so many other people, and so I'm so excited to share this information with you today. And this session is going to include, for the most part, understanding yourself and others. And there basically are 4 behaviors of mankind. And in like 300 BC, Hippocrates had identified that there were 4 different behavior styles of mankind. And pretty much everybody was farmers at the time, and so they really couldn't give a hoot about it. And so in the last about 120 years that science has really come together and recognized that what Hippocrates had identified way back then is true about us human beings, and that there are 4 primary behavior styles that we have. And so we're going to discuss those behavior styles, and here's some of what the value of what you're going to get out of today. That within 30 seconds, you're going to be able to, for the most part, identify a person's behavior style and then be able to recognize based on what their behavior style is, on how you want to modify your behavior style so you can open up the window of communication. So this is going to be amazing. You're going to see that you're going to just be able to increase relationships. Hey, Paula, good morning. And so you're going to hear about on how you can build and develop these deep, meaningful relationships. And so this means, yes, it means more business for you by understanding this. And again, we have a pretty good understanding of people, and we, pretty much know on how to modify our behavior style. But this will give you some real clear, easy steps in order to be able to identify a person's behavior style within 30 seconds and then modify their behavior style so that you can then raise the shade of communication. That every person has this shade of communication that either they pull down or they raise up. And so what I want you to do is be thinking about on how, yes, what I want to do is I want to raise that communication so that we can have clear and full communication. And by so doing, you can build deeper, more meaningful relationships, whether it's be in your personal life, whether it be your prospects, your clients, and you can build your business. And you can get more of what you want. And really, that's what I teach, is to feel good, and by feeling good, to get more of what you want. And as you build on this understanding, that'll help you to be even more confident, in control, clear, and really rising yourself up to where your source is. And so you want to start thinking as through your source, and start feeling through your source, start sensing through your source. And so we're for the most part in a Judeo-Christian society, and so from a Christian perspective, it is that I want to see through Christ's eyes, and this is going to help you. We have been told throughout the ages not to judge, and the fact is that a lot of us have judged, and we judge a lot of people all the time, and that if we would just let go of our resistant thoughts and start realizing and start allowing other people to be who they are, and allow yourself to be who you are, that you will be an allower, and by you being an allower, you'll be able to start seeing, again, as the phrase goes, seeing through Christ's eyes, or sensing, if you will, thinking and feeling then through source. And this is also, we're going to be covering on the motivations, and we're just going to briefly cover motivations, but basically there's 6 different motivations. that motivate people. Again, in our society, this is different worldwide. And scientists have perfected this in the last 120 years, have perfected this now into a science to where you now, your reports that I have sent you, you've completed that I've sent to you, that they're the world's most statistically accurate and valid diagnostic tools in the world to identify what your behaviors are, as well as identify what your motivations are. There's also another thing that we measure that, and again, I'm certified, one of about 72 people in the world certified in this, and you need a lot of different requirements and education and things like that. But I can also measure talents. Now, we're not going to get into that today, but just know there's 67 talents of mankind, and that certain talents are required for certain jobs, positions, and that I can actually measure to the 10th of a point on what talents you are. So some real interesting things to, again, to help you. What this is not about how to manipulate people or whatever. This is how to understand both yourself first and then understand other people so you can more effectively communicate with them. So we are energy beings, we're vibrational beings, and that we also have our thought, and our thought is used, and from last week we understood that we don't make things happen. And again, you may want to write this down. I don't make things happen. What you do is you decide what things will happen. And so that is the what and the why on you want to decide what you want and then why you want it, and then you allow Source to bring that to you. And so, some of you may question, well, what do you mean Source and how does that work? Just look around in your life. Look at on how you met your spouse. I mean, you couldn't have figured out how to do that. Look at how you all of a sudden have this, or have developed this amazing business of yours that, there are things that there are no coincidences, if you will. That is those coincidences that we thought were coincidences. They're not coincidences at all. That what they are is they're your thought that has created cooperative components around whatever you're thinking about, and thus it is Source that brings you everything that you want, and then you just need to allow it in to receive your good. And that's where part of this allowing comes in, is by understanding this, you're going to be able to be more of an allower and more of allowing your good to come to you. And we'll get into the 5 different steps of creation in another session. But know that this is all building on each other, on how that you're going to really, really be so grounded and so confident, so sure, and so much enjoying the fact that you now manage life instead of life managing you. And to whatever degree that is, that I promise you that you will be more of a deliberate creator than you were before this process. So, are you ready? Let's get going. And we are going to first go, and I just have to wake this baby up again. And we are going to go to our agenda. So we're going to look at the 4 behaviors, how to identify and then raise the curtain of communication with others. We're going to look at the 6 motivations and how to speak their language. That people, based on how they're motivated, is how people's language is. It's how they think. And so if you can pick up on what their language is, because what we do is we typically talk to other people based on our language, on what we value, and what happens because of that is that we don't effectively communicate with people because we're not speaking their language, and this is going to help you speak their language. Then we're going to also look at high payoff activities. So in Success Unit 1, that Success Unit that I asked you to listen to at least 6 times, that, again, and this is all a process, and it's just coming your way, and just know and just have this blind faith that, wow, things are getting better. I just really like this, and I'm getting even better than I have been, and I know some of you have just amazing businesses and resources, and you're just incredible that this can help you if you allow it. This can help you to go to the next step. And so we're going to identify those high payoff activities. And again, this is your life, so you'll identify it. But I'll help you to maybe get a little bit more focused on what are the most important things. Typically, there's only 6 things we really need to do in our professional life and 6 things in our personal life that we need to do in order to have all the success and happiness that we want. Hey, I gotta just time out here because our recording didn't go. So I just lost that line for some reason, and so just know that the only recording we're going to have from here on out is going to be this recording. I'm recording this one here. And so then we're going to also look at our ideal referral partnerships and the key to building $1 million business. And again, I know that most of you know referrals are important and everything. What I'm sharing with you is a more disciplined approach on how to have these referral partnerships start working for you. That when you get to the point of having 10 referral partners that are really good at providing you leads on a regular basis, that into your ideal clients, that you'll see that's all you really need to do, and your business will just explode. And so again, sometimes some of our beliefs on, I'm having trouble hearing Hank. Oh, he's cutting in and out. Okay, so let's see. I can't do too much about that. I show that I have a strong signal. And you know what I'm going to do? If you guys will just kind of hang on here, I'm going to call that number again and get this recording. And so in the event that you can't hear me, that we'll be able to hear better. So again, ideal. It might just be me. No, Allison, it's not you. I'm sure it's, yeah, and who knows about this technology. But like I say, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't call this number again and see if we can get that recording going. And so ideal referral partners, again, about 10 of them. If you have about 10 referral partners, that is all you will need in order to make your business just get to the next level. And again, I know you're doing other things and you're with other websites, getting other leads, things like that, and that's all great. It's just for you to, I'd like to suggest that I know that this is the easy downstream way in order to get more business. So it's just another technique to get more business. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the different behavior styles. And so I know this looks pretty complicated, but what I'd like you to do, you'll see it's all very simple, is I'd like you to get out a piece of paper and on the full sheet of paper. And what I want you to do on the top of the paper is I want you to put in there the 4 DISC, D-I-S-C, the 4 DISC behavior styles. And there's 2 things that I want you to get out of this part. Is number 1, to identify the different behavior style, D-I-S-C, and then secondly, and most importantly, is to then modify your behavior style so you can more effectively open up that window and that shade of communication. Okay, so at the top of the page you have the 4 DISC behavior styles. And remember this, writing down, by writing things down, that's why in the Joy Shop that I want you to write down after you read that Joy Shop and you're in a good feeling place, and add any sentences, thoughts that you have that get you even into a better feeling place. And then you want to write down 3 things in your Joy Shop. The first is, the first is on that you want to write down what you want. Okay, and so it could be about today. It could be just about your life. That I love starting out. The more general, the better, because we have less resistance on general statements. But I want a long, happy, prosperous, healthy, wealthy, life. And so, just by writing those down, that it just is calling forth your source and all cooperative components to start delivering you the specifics of that. And then the second thing you write down, again, back in the Joy Shop, but the importance of writing down, and why I want you to write this information about DISC down, is then to write down what you appreciate. And within the last 24 hours, what are the things you appreciate? When you write down the things that you appreciate, you're automatically telling the universe, I want more of it. So I appreciate the simple things from a smile from someone, about the nice, friendly conversation I had with someone, about I appreciate the money that I got in, of the closing that I had, that whatever happened in the last 24 hours. We have been trained to look at what is not working in our lives, and I want you to start training yourself on what is working, thinking only about what is working, and the things that are troubling you, I don't want you to think about at all. It doesn't do you any good other than create more trouble. And so if you could get that one point, like, you will just be on this magic carpet ride of life and really enjoying life. So, and then the third thing, just to finish off on, then you prepave your day for the Joy Shop, and you prepave it, and you prepave it. You start identifying how you want my day. I want to drive smoothly, easily, and have fun. I want to see the beauty. I want to see through Christ's eyes. I want to see through Source's eyes. And so just to really get into what you want. I want this meeting to go well. Call it the way you want it, not the way that you think because of the way the person has been before, how these meetings normally go, or how the circumstance normally goes. Just let go of those old beliefs on what you think, and instead start calling forth what you want. And so that, to me, just inspires me I got God bumps all over me, and I hope it does to you, too. In fact, in my Joy Shop today, I identified that this session will enlighten you, and I love that word, that it'll enlighten you, and it'll touch your hearts, your minds, and your souls. And so just relax, breathe in deeply, and now take in this information. So back to the piece of paper, the 4 DISC behavior styles. And now what I'd like you to do is put a little plus mark in the middle of the page. And at the top of that plus mark on the north side, write in the D. Okay, write in D. And then go about 5 lines up from that. And so I'm going to start describing each one of the behavior styles and how you want to be able to identify that behavior style. Within 30 seconds you will be able to, and then how to modify the behavior style. And so I'm sure that all of you can relate then also to these different behavior styles. Now, understand that we have one behavior style that is really high. Out of the 4, we're a real high one behavior style typically, pretty high another behavior style, and then 2 behavior styles we're not very high yet. And so these are, and I'm going to show you, like if you've been through DISC before, you haven't been through this type of DISC. And I'm going to show you 2 graphs later on. The right graph that is going to show you who you really are, and then the left graph showing you how you modify your behavior style and become something different than your God-given behavior styles that you have. And what I'm going to do is help you to get back to who you really are, that right graph on whatever you are highest, whether it's the D, the I, the S, and the C, and then what you are next on. And that, and like some people will go through this and say, if they're not a D, they'll say, oh, I wish I were a D. And I don't want you to wish anything other than for you to understand who you really are, and then to leverage the beauty that you are in order to go out. And I'm sharing with you that what will happen is, it'll actually increase your longevity because it'll decrease your stress because you'll start getting back to who you really are, and it'll also increase your stress. And again, that's living in the green zone. So this is part of this understanding, is to understand on how to live in the green zone and understanding ourselves and others. So under so the D, you have the D there. Go about 5 lines above that, like what you're seeing here on the computer, but I want you to write this down. Just don't copy it. Take it from my words as I describe it to you and with feelings. So the D, what is the D for? The D stands for, and write down, driver/dominant. And again, similar to the way that I have this page written out that you write down, that's what the D is. So this is D-I-S-C, and the D is for driver/dominant. Now, these people, they typically like to control, and they typically like to do a lot of telling. And telling as almost in directing, okay? They like to direct people on, here, you do this, and, you need to do that. They like to control the conversation, etc. Now, tell me, I want you to think about, just with that short description, because this is going to be very easy, and you're going to just see that, wow, this just works magical. And again, you kind of knew this before, but now you're going to have a clear understanding of the 4 different behavior styles of mankind. So I want you to think right now, first of all, are you a D? And again, when I ask that, that is, are you a strong D? Like, are you really strong in that? And so the driver/dominant, that if you aren't, I want you to write down somebody's name on who is. Now, we've been told through the H's not to judge, and this is a great behavior style on where many of us have a tendency to judge. And we use a different word than D. Maybe it's called with a B. And so the fact is, no. I'm going to allow these people to be who they are. That drivers, this is just how they're born. They're born to just be driven. They're very dominant. And they do a lot of controlling and telling, commanding, and this is who they are. And it's God gifts that we've been each given in a certain varying degrees. And so you want to honor every one of these behavior styles. And so instead of calling that person, really mean or tough or some bad word, that what I want you to do is now just say to yourself, oh, this person is just a D. Okay, and not a B or another word you want. Oh, this person is just a driver. And so you allow them to be that. Now, every one of these behavior styles have a lot of value that they bring to the table. And one of the things that the D is very good at, and I want you to write down the third one there above the D, is they're good at decision making. Now, I have some of you on the phone who are Ds, who have a strong D in you, and you might be thinking, yeah, I make right decisions. But that's not what I said. I said the D are good at decision making. So what that means is they're going to make a decision, and they're going to make it fairly quickly. And so if you're a D that you don't even like it when other people take a while to make a decision, it sometimes can drive you crazy. In fact, the reason why I have on the opposing side the S, the steady, that Ds typically don't get along very well with the S's. And that they just go like, oh my God, it's taking them too long, etc. And that we're going to stop again that resistant thought, and instead we're going to allow people to be who they are. And as you do, you'll see that you release your freedom and you become more free now to be who you are. That we have a tendency to wanting to mold other people into who we are, and instead what I want you to do is allow other people to be who they are. So the Ds are very good at decision making. They're going to make a decision quickly. And then amount of population. So when you're out there and that you're, talking with, if you're sending a message to your list of contacts, or if you're talking to, you're meeting a new prospect, that the odds are that as far as how many Ds are you going to meet in the world is about 1 out of 5, 18%, but round numbers if you want to, about 20%. And some of you have very low Cs, which means you don't care too much about the data and everything, and so you're really cool with me saying, just 20%. You'll see that the Cs, they like it real specific, and they want to say, it's 18%. But to be specific, it's 18% of the population are Ds. And again, that means their primary behavior style is a D. We have all 4 behavior styles, but what are we really strong in? Number 1, and then typically number 2, what are we strong in? And so now, importantly, the second thing that you should be able to now be thinking about other people you know that are Ds, and that now it's critical to understand, how do I modify my behavior with Ds? And you want to be, and so I want you to write this down, be efficient. I want to be efficient. So get to the point. So when a D comes to you and says, hey, how's it going? You don't start talking, and I's have a tendency to do a lot of talking, that if you're an I and you start saying, oh man, I woke up out of bed and I was feeling good, and then, I got some coffee and everything, they don't want to hear that. Okay, and it's not that they're not interested in you, it's not that they don't like you, that they like it efficient, so you're going to give it to them in an efficient way, and you'll see that it raises their curtain. They're not necessarily warm and fuzzy, whereas more the IS is warm and fuzzy, and the DC is just more concerned with tasks. So there's the D, they're the driver. You now recognize them, and so I'm talking 100 words per minute. Your minds are going at least 300 to 400 words per minute. What are you doing with the extra time? You probably aren't even in the room. You're thinking about something else, and you're thinking what you got to do next today, or whatever, something that happened that you do that. So we have plenty of thoughts. So what I want you to do is start disciplining your thought process in order to, when you meet other people, don't be concerned about how your hair is or what you're going to tell them or whatever. What you want to do is be listening to them, and then identifying what behavior style they are, and then modify your behavior style. And as you do that, you'll be amazed at how all of a sudden the curtain raises. And again, you all do this to some degree, that you recognize, oh, this is some kind of person. This helps your mind to compartmentalize it, to be able to understand it easily and efficiently in order to recognize what behavior style they are, and then how do I modify my behavior style. Okay, and then with that, then we have the I. So we're going to move over to the I, and the I is for influencer. So on the right-hand side, I want you to put an I, and then there's going to be, again, 5 lines there. And so the first line is that you're going to understand, what is the I? The I is influencer. So we got the driver, and now we have the influencer. And with the influencer, that these people, and write down on the next line, these people are very outgoing, and they do a lot of telling, but it's different telling than the D. They love to tell stories. And so they're big talkers, okay? And so just thinking about that I, that think to yourself, wow, am I an I? And most of you, by the way, have high I's in you, and that's good, because you just naturally can influence other people. So you're, in essence, in sales, being in real estate, okay, and then you're selling, homes and listings, and so for you to, I like to use the word offer, that you're providing, you're offering your expertise, and that and so what I's are really good at is influencing other people. So they just have a natural ability for that. So I want you to think about, what I's do you know? That what influencers do you know? And so it might be you, and say, well, me. And then what other people do you know? And I'd like to, in a fun way, give this example, that if you're in a hurry and you're walking down a hallway and you see an I coming to you, you want to make a quick left. And I'm just kidding about that. But I's have a tendency to do a lot of talking. And they're very optimistic as well. And with I's, about 28% of the population are I's. So as you start looking at this and start understanding on what behavior style you are, that typically if you're an I, you're going to get along well with I's. Why? Because you can relate to them. You're like them, if you will. And so because of that you want to embrace this this I and know that, wow, I and about 1/3 of the population are going to be I's. So if you're not an I, it just helps you to give a heads up. Hey, these are I's, and so what do I need to do? Remember, with the driver, we said we want to be efficient. With the influencer, what you want to be is stimulating. And so here's what I mean by that. So I'll use Paula, for example. She's a high I, one of her behavior styles. And so and yesterday, Paula and I actually were talking on the phone. And I was seeing on how I could help her in, whatever ways. And for all of you that I'm available, to speak on the phone with you, that I want to help you and help you become your greatest possibility. And so with Paula, that when I'm talking to her, I recognize that she's an I. And so what I do is, like, for example, when I'm talking to her, I don't say, oh, hi, Paula, how are you? Okay, that instead, I recognize she's an I, and so I want to lift it up a little, and I say, hey, Paula, how are you today? It's good to hear from you. So I raised it a little. Now, at the same time, you don't want to fake it, if you will. You want to be who you are and honor that, but recognize that an I likes to have it more stimulating, and so you want to lift it up a little bit more. And so by lifting it up, again, what that does is that opens up the shade of communication so we can more effectively communicate with each other. So there the I is, and then we're going to look at the S. And so the S is for steady. Everything is okay. Things are going well, and we really don't need to make any changes. And did you notice on how I've changed my behavior style? That I've slowed it down. I've quieted it down. And that's with the S, that the S is all about being steady, an even pace. And so in that first line, I want you to write down S, and the first line, steady, or steadiness, okay? And one of the things on a steady is don't rock the boat. That they don't like the boat being rocked. I's and D's rock the boat big time. And they're going a mile a minute, okay? And they're just doing stuff, going. And like, for example, I can tell you right now, like Paula and Denise are high ID, and they're just going. And they're rocking the boat all the time. And but with S's, that you want to slow it up, and you don't want to rock the boat. For them, that they, in fact, your buyers, that if you're a D and you're talking with an S, they can drive you nuts. Because if you're a D, you're saying, hurry up, let's go fast. And S's are, we're in no hurry. We don't have to go fast. Everything is just fine. So I want you to think about this because, as you can see, 40% of the population are D's and I's. And I think God did it that way because, our S's. And I think God did it that way because the D's and I's rock the boat so much that you need to have a heavy force of people, of S's back there in order to make sure we don't rock the boat. And so S's, and so this is a very hands-on information that you're going to hear right now. Because for many of you, that it has frustrated you dealing with these type of people. And I want you to let go of that idea now and instead say, because these are saying, really, they're saying, yeah, they just drive me nuts, and, they don't make very quick decisions, etc. And the fact is that you're going to be dealing with 40% of the population as S's, as steady, as an even pace. And so you want to really embrace this idea in them and recognize that. So how do I get where I want to go, especially for you D's and I's, that you're saying these people are driving me nuts. I want them to, let's say, make a decision on a house quickly. And so how many of you have taken out someone and showed them a house and then showed them the next house, and they just don't make a decision? And I know you guys are laughing. Oh yeah, I got that client that has done that, and you bet we've all had those clients. And why? Because 40% of the population is that way. And so here's the technique to work with them: is that you're both at A, okay? That they're looking for, they want to get, let's say, a new home. And then B is you want to close that home. And so with an S, with a D, you can just basically say, hey, you wanted this 4-bedroom, 5-bath place, and so here you go. It's in the neighborhood you wanted, and they'll make a decision real quick, yes or no. So with D's, you got to be real, make sure that you give an efficient presentation, and you're right to the point, and because they're going to make a decision right away, yes or no. Okay, so you want to give your best in the couple minutes that you have with them, because that's how they want it efficient. When we get back down to studies, then what you need to do is you need to give them itty-bitty action steps, but many, maybe per day even many. Like, for example, that you meet with them and you get their expectations, what type of home they want, where they want to live, how big, and all the things they want, the school district, all of that. And so you make sure that you get it. And just remember, it's going to probably take longer with an S to get that information than it is with the D. And really, I'm telling you, this is going to give you such relief, because you guys are all dealing with S's, and most of you have some S in you, a fairly strong S with you as well, that you need to manage your own expectations about when you meet with an S. This is going to take a little bit longer, and it's going to take a little bit longer for them to make a decision even on what type of home they want, okay? And so where are these little steps? So you meet with them in the morning, and then you say, hey, I'll call you this afternoon and discuss on some things, that I'll email you some things in a couple hours. Then I'll call you this afternoon about it. So what you're doing is you're giving them little baby steps, okay? The D, you can just call in the afternoon and say, hey, here's the house you wanted, that you said you wanted, is it yes or no? Should I make an offer? The S is, no, you got to do these little baby steps. And so so to get to your objective of, gee, I want them to, find a home by next weekend, for you to do that, you need to give these little baby steps. So during the week, be sending them information, get clarity on that, have them feel comfortable. So the key to S's in any situation is to be, and write down, be agreeable. So you should have there for the S's for steady. They're team players, don't rock the boat. They're even pace. They just, everything's okay. They're on that smooth water, that they like it smooth. They don't like the big waves. Whereas the D's and I's, they like getting on the big wave and then riding the surfboard off to all their good stuff that they want. And so and then 40% of the population are S's. And then number 5, be agreeable. So what does that mean? Is don't ever tell a S no. If you do, you subconsciously, they're not even aware of it, that subconsciously, and remember, I'm a behavioral psychologist, I'm telling you this is how it is, that they subconsciously pull down their shade of communication, and they no longer they're not listening to you. They turn you off, and you don't even know it. They're still saying, yeah, but you turned them off. So to make sure you don't have that shade close on you, that you don't also want to say but, like, oh, that's a great idea, but. Well, when you use that word but, that statement you just said, oh, that's a great idea, just got erased. And so it's a great idea, but, okay, erase that, a great idea, and then you're just going to tell them on how you want it or how it should be or whatever, and that's not going to work with them. They're going to pull down their shade. So what you want to do is say the very kind, gentle word, easy, and. It's a wonderful idea, and have you also considered this? And again, I share with you, for those of you that have this heavy D, this is a blessing today for you, the enlightenment on how, wow, this is how to work with these people, and that I'm going to stop judging them and thinking they're too slow or whatever. Their minds are going just as fast as you are. That these are, you want to honor other people, and allow them to be who they are. And with S's, that's how they are. Okay, so that it leads us to the C now. Now the C is for conscientious or compliant. And now know that only 14%, and you can write that down in a minute, but 14%, so it's the smallest amount of population is where they're a real high C. But you've all ran into them. They're the people that say, well, how many feet away is a fire hydrant from the house? And, you know, you're shaking your head like, I have no idea, and I don't care. But the fact is, they do, because, so the C is for conscientious, compliant, and what they're all about is facts and data. They want to hear the facts, and they want to have the data. And so they're very concerned with that. And they're also all about rules and regulations. So high C's say rules and regulations are made to be followed. Medium C's, and I'm going to show you a graph here, and you're going to be able to actually see on your own graph exactly where you fall in this, but medium C is around the 50% mark, is that those, if they say rules and regulations, they're nice guidelines. Okay, remember, high C, rules are made to be followed. Medium C, nice guidelines. A low C, which some of you are, rules, for the most part, are made to be broken. And I know some of you can relate to that. Oh, yeah, I don't like those rules. And, you know, if I can avoid them, if I can break them, that, you know, I'll be happy to do that. And so I can tell, like, depending on how people follow my instructions, on whether or not they're a high C or not. And it's all good, you know, it's all whatever you are. But I can tell by people just again, most people, like when I was meeting you guys at the seminar, that I am meeting you, listening to what you're saying, but I'm also saying to myself, what behavior style are they? And how do I modify my behavior style so I can more effectively communicate with them? So they're big time rules and regulations. 14% of the population of this are this way. So you're not going to run into many. But when you do, when you run into people that are asking about all the data and the facts and real nitpicky, you might call them nitpicky, immediately you say they're C's, and I'm going to have all the data that I can with me, that I allow this person to be who they are. This is the God-given person that they are. They're a C. And so what am I mainly going to do? The fifth point here to write down is I'm going to be accurate. So I'm going to be accurate with these people, and I'm going to make sure. So, for example, that when I'm giving this presentation, and I said on the D, yeah, 18% of the population, or 1 out of 5, 20%. For most of you, you're okay with that statement. Because if you'll notice, you got 18%, you got 28%, you got 40% that, you know, aren't going to be this high C. But when I'm talking in front of like an audience of 100 people, that I recognize, I got about 14 people out there that want to be accurate. So when I'm delivering this information, I'll say 18%, and I won't go around 20%. And so how to be with a C is you want to be accurate. So you don't say, oh, you know, the fire hydrant's around, you know, 20 yards away. No. They want to know that it is 21 feet, 9 inches away from the front door. And for most of you, that'll drive you nuts too. Again, the good news is only 14% of it are that way. And for those of you that have people working with you that you maybe want to identify, what behavior style is this person? And so if you're a low C and you're dealing with a prospect that's a high C, and you have a real estate agent, for example, that's working with you, or one of your team members are a high C, you want that high C to work with that prospect, because they can handle it, they can enjoy that, they can enjoy talking all the numbers, and you can go be doing what you want to do. Okay, so finishing this off, that let's take a look at the DISC. That if you notice that I want you to put a line between the D and the I, and these people are typically more extroverted. So I want you to write down extroverted there. Okay, they're more outgoing. This will help you to identify the behavior style that people are at. The I and the S, if you put a line between the I and the S, these people are more concerned with relationships. If you do the S and the C, these people are more introverted. And then finally, when you do the D and the C, draw a line there, and these people are concerned with tasks. So at this point, I was providing this valuable information to an executive of IBM, and she was a high executive in IBM. And when she saw this, right at this point, she started to cry. And I said, listen, I know this information is good, but it's not that good. And she went, no, I recognize I've been married for 13 years, and I recognize that I'm an IS and I'm concerned with relationships. And my husband, I have been trying to change him for the last 13 years to be concerned with relationships, where I recognize my husband is a DC and he's concerned with tasks. And I said, well, can you give me an example of the dynamics of the communication and, how that works between you two? She said, sure. If we decide, hey, we're going to go on vacation, I'm talking, so she's talking about her being an IS, and she's saying she's concerned with what people are coming, are the in-laws going to be coming? Are the kids' friends going to be coming? All this stuff about the relationships, okay? Where when he gets home and they talk about it, he says, hey, when are we going? How are we getting there? Where are we staying? And when are we getting back? And a DC just is not going to be warm and fuzzy. And so she recognized, she thought, oh, he was trying to be Mr. Macho or, real rough, tough guy. And so for 13 years tried to change him. That and now there is a way to change other people, and it's the way that you think about them. But in this case, she was trying to change him on who she was, and we have a tendency to do that. And I would ask you to stop doing that and to start allowing people who they are. And as you do, you'll start looking for positive aspects in other people. Look for positive aspects in yourself, in your significant other, in your family, and even in your relatives, even in the in-laws. Look for positive aspects. I know that's a tough one for some of you. I got this father-in-law, Sledge, and he is it's just his name. It's Sledge, like a sledgehammer. He's going to want to use a sledgehammer on me or something. And, Sharon says, hey, this guy has never been kind to any of my boyfriends or husbands, and there was plural, and so just is not nice at all, and I said, that's what I don't want. That I'm not going to call that forth with him. I'm going to see him as kind and loving me and friendly and supportive and talkative and open, and so that's what I decided how I wanted him to be. And just on Easter, that I went over there and he started off, telling Sharon right away, hey, if you don't like it, you can leave. And we just walked in for Easter, And then I started talking to him. Pretty soon, he's got his arm around me and he's showing me these pictures and showing me his workout equipment and all this stuff. So I can change people by changing my thoughts, but not me trying to change what behavior they are. So I want you to start honoring other people for who they are. And this, my friends, in a nutshell, are who people are. Now, I'm going to get out of this, and I want you to get, if you can, go to your profile, and I'd like you to go to page 32 of your profile. And if anything, you can just follow along here. and then see it, afterwards. But I've sent you all your profiles. You should for sure read the first couple of pages about your sales characteristics. I did a sales profile on you because, again, really all of us are in sales. We're all selling, our perspective, and but especially we as real estate professionals. And so I want you to read that as sales aspects of you when after this seminar, if you haven't already, that most people just can't resist and start getting into it. I was talking to Paula yesterday, and she said, man, I was reading all this, and, I was just amazed. I've had other ones, but, nothing like this. And then she said, and it's kind of funny, and Paula, if you don't mind, I'm going to share that she goes, yeah, and my little guy, I even showed it to my little guy, and I'm thinking like her little child or something, and I go, oh, your little guy? And she goes, well, yeah, my boyfriend, he's 6'6". He's 6 feet 6 inches, and she calls him her little guy, but isn't that cute? Anyways, he read it and just, loved it also on just how accurate it is. And what it is you filled this out, okay? Dr. Hank didn't fill it out. You filled it out, and this is who you are. So on this page, on page 32, that and if you look up in the look at my pointer, it says 32 there. I think the actual page number, if you have a hard copy of it, which I know it's a long assessment, it's page 31. And so here's how to read the graph. The first thing is, and I want you to write this down on, maybe just write out both graphs just on the same sheet of paper you're with. The right graph, I want you to write down, if you have a hard copy of the profile, then great, you can write it there, or just write it on a piece of paper. The real me. So the right graph is who you really are. The left graph is how you modify your behavior to the world. And this is stunning, that this graph isn't available in any other behavior profiles, if you will, that it literally shows you who you really are, the right graph, and then the left graph on how it modifies, how you modify your behavior. And why this is important is because if you modify your behavior by more than 10 points, which I'll get to in a minute here, that what this is doing is this is adding stress to you and your life. You're adding more stress that already, regular life has some stress in it, that you're adding more stress by being somebody who you aren't. I want you to start loving yourself for who you are, and that's this right graph. So, how to read this. Look at that right graph that I have on my screen, and you'll notice at the top it says DISC. And so that is for the 4 DISC behavior profiles, behaviors that we just went through. And the highest bar is this person's highest behavior style. So in this example, this person, and see the 50% mark, that deeper gray line? If you're above that line, that means that you have a dominant personality in these behavior styles, whatever is over the line. Normally, most people are real high one, pretty high another, and then 2 not very high. In this case, this person is an IS. Now, if you drop down and look at the bottom, that you'll see it says percent. Now, this is just amazing as you look at this, that what I want you to do on your profile is subtract the D, in this case 37, from the D on the right graph, 43. So it doesn't matter if it's, if it's the right number or the left number. What you're looking for is the difference in percentage. If it's 10% or more difference, this is creating stress in your life, and enough stress to be slowly picking away at you and decreasing your longevity and your happiness and everything else. So I want you to now subtract the D from the D, the I from the I, the S from the S, and the C from the C. And so if I were looking at this, that in this example, and if I were talking to this person, and this is a real life person, an agent of ours, or not an agent, actually, a preferred vendor of ours, that if you'll notice, for the S, her regular self, her normal self, is 56%. Remember, the higher the S, the slower the pace. So her normal is 56%, so it's a dominant behavior style. And she's an I, very outgoing. She has this S, even pace. But notice her left graph, she's only an I. She drops her S by 11 points. And what this means is, since a higher S is slower pace, because she's dropping her S, she's going at a faster pace than what she's comfortable with, than who she really is. And so for most of you, you have an S that drops and you're going at a faster pace. And I want you to give you some ease on this, and I want you to slow it up a little to be who you really are. Now, in any case, on any of these, if you're 10 points or more difference, that there's 4 steps that you can take, and I want you to write these 4 steps down that you can take to start getting back to your God-given behavior style, which is your right graph. And that is to D, so it's an acronym, and it's write down just in a row, a vertical row, D-E-S-C. So not D-I-S-C, it's D-E-S-C. So you want to delegate it. So for example, if you increase your C on the left graph, you want to delegate the facts and the data and everything to someone else. So the D is for delegate, the E is for eliminate, the S is for simplify, and the C is for communicate. So D, delegate the information, like on the facts and data, my example. E, eliminate it. Look at some things and say, do I really need to be doing this? What am I getting out of this? Are you, looking at some website that's giving you dead-end leads all the time? Get rid of it. I want you to simplify your life. That when you start focusing on the things that are working in your life, you're going to start having more things work in your life. Cooperative components are going to rally around the things that you're thinking about that's working in your life, and you're going to get more things working in your life. So I want you to think about eliminating certain things in your life, personally or professionally. The S for simplify, I want you to simplify things. You don't have to have it so complicated. Have things easier. And I'm sharing with you that all of you can do every one of these steps in some way in order to simplify your life so that you can raise to the point of joy. I want you to be joyful. I want you to enjoy this ride. You came here for more joy. But most of us don't have the joy. We're working too hard. If your S goes down on your left graph, that means you're uncomfortable. You're working more than what you're comfortable with. You're going at a faster pace than what you're comfortable with. And I know this is touching you guys, that you're thinking, hey, I'm taking this serious. I'm going to see, what can I delegate today? What can I eliminate? What can I simplify in my business or in my life? And then C is for communicate. And what can I communicate to the people I work with? What can I communicate with, the organization I'm with or whatever, in order to help you to have an easier life? That, we've been taught, things aren't easy. No. I want you to focus on having things easy. As they become easy, you'll lighten up. It's like a cork. If you hold a cork down in water, you're just holding it down, and that's resistant thoughts. And what I want you to do is release that cork and release you so that it can bobble up on the top and be in the stream of abundance going downstream where all your desires are. And to do that, one technique is to go to that right graph, is start being who you are, and then to start DESC. So pretty cool stuff, huh? So with that, any questions there on that? And so now I'm going to, why don't we go ahead and we're going to take, and Larry, I know you're going to call me on this, so we're going to take a 3-minute break. in just 3 minutes. So if we could be back at like 25 to, which is in about 3 minutes, just a quick little break so that we can get back to. We're going to talk about the motivations and our referral partners. Okay, so take a break. Love you guys. Enjoying this. Loving it. All righty. Larry, has it been 3 minutes? I know you're going to keep me true to that. I think he's typing. Yeah, so I'll give it a couple more seconds here, and so, all righty. Well, leave me alone. Larry says, leave me alone. No, I thank you for last time doing that, telling me that, I cut you short there. All right, guys, so hopefully just spectacular for you to be able to see the different behavior styles have this more depth, more breadth of what's how life really works and how people work. And so the DISC, incredible. Start using it. And the more you can, and just you may want to, for example, use a list with your current clients or prospects, and just write down on in their folder or whatever on what behavior style they are, and that way it can help manage you again for the D's. That it'll help you more effectively to communicate. And so with that, let's see here. We are going to go to the 6 motivators. So I'm going to just briefly review this, but you have a whole assessment on all 6 of the motivations of mankind, of how they're motivated, especially in our society. And this is critical because it's going to help you to start talking to people and their language. And so I'm going to make this easy. Basically, there are these 6 ways that people make decisions. So if you're talking their language, they will better understand on where you're coming from, and you'll be able to more effectively communicate with them and get to yes, if you will. And so I'm going to give it to you in order of how people overall, what people, so when you meet a person, the odds are they're going to be number one, utilitarian, and that means they're going to want a return on investment. So just know that people are looking, if they're talking, and how do you know this? You have to listen to what they're saying. If they're talking about, well, what's the return, how much is the house going to be valued, that type of thing, they're utilitarian. Now, what happens with us is if we're not utilitarian, we don't really hear what they're saying. They say, hey, what's the return on everything? And so let's say that that we're instead aesthetic, and so we have a high aesthetic, and we'll be coming back to them with, instead of talking about the return, we'll say, well, look at the form and harmony of this house, and the neighborhood is so harmonious with everything else, and like they're not interested, so you're not talking their language. So that's why it's critical to understand. And so the main 3 ones out of the 6 motivators is utilitarian, return on investment, so people want an ROI, theoretical, that they want knowledge, and so they want your knowledge about the neighborhood, about the house, about the availability, about the listing, on how what the pricing is, etc. So that's a critical one and a key one. And again, if you're not way up there, the good news is you can become any of these. You can have any of these. And then the third one to know is social and helping others. And so this helping others, that this is that when people are real high social, that they have a tendency to help others so much that they forget about themselves and don't put their self number one. And most of us have been taught not to put ourself number one, but it is only our perspective that we have that creates our life, and that if we don't put ourselves number one, that we're not going to be happy, and ultimately we're going to not make other people happy because we're not happy. And so we're going to vibrate too on happiness, if you will. So you want to put yourself number one. So for those of you that are high social, and on that form, like on that page 30 where we were, that when you go, if you go to page 33, it's it'll give you a list of what you are 1 through 6 as far as where you are. If you're high utilitarian, theoretical, and social, those are your first 3. That pretty much puts you into, hey, I don't have to focus too much on this because most people are going to be 1, 2, and 3, or a part of 1, 2, and 3, and so you're going to be talking their language. So if you're 4, 5, or 6 and you're high up there, typically the top 2 that you are is how you make decisions. Okay, and so let's say that you're number 5 in social, helping others. It doesn't mean you don't want to help others, but what it means is you have other ways in order to make decisions, and it's not based on that. So it's no judgment of this, of this person is good or bad. This is just who they are, and they're what motivates people. So what I'd ask you to do is review your entire profile to include your motivations profile, which is again starts on page 32 there, and then it gives definitions, and it shows you in every area that you are. And again, as you read that, it's very accurate, but people sometimes will say, well, this isn't true about me. Well, what it is it actually, when you look at as far as priority-wise, that it might not be a high priority. So if you're reading about individualistic and it's number 6 on there, that those items aren't going to be a big impact to you where the other ones are. So read that. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, just to continue to keep on moving, that this is critical. I could invest literally days with you on this, but the main thing for you to get out of this is people are interested in a return on investment, interested in knowledge, and helping others. And so when you are running an ad, you want to include these 3 things about the return on investment that they can get with you, and the knowledge that you have to offer, and about that you're here to help them. Okay, and if you do that, they can relate. You're going to relate to most of the population by having that. So those are the 6 motivators. It's just, again, incredible to read your profile and then to realize and start looking at other people. If you're not communicating very effectively with other people, it's either because you are not aligning your behaviors or you're not talking their language based on what motivates them to make a decision. So now you know the breakout on the 6 different areas that would motivate people, and then think back on the discussions you've had with those people to identify where are they in their motivations. The best would be for you to go profile your prospects and your customers, and it's almost like cheating. You know exactly what motivates them and how to make their decisions. And so if you are interested, I have agents doing that have remarkable success. So if you want to run it on your, I do it with, if I'm going to have like a large CEO, I'm in a big company with a CEO that I'm going to see, I actually profile them. And when I walk in there, I know exactly how to, behave in front of that person and how to speak their language. So it's a remarkable tool and now information that you can do to more effectively communicate with others. You're going to have more closing, easier closings. You're going to have a lot of things as you do your Joy Shop and start implementing the behaviors and the motivations of people. So now I want to switch gears on you. And again, this has been, content filled with information to help you really get focused. In Success Unit 1, we talked about high payoff activities. And so what I'd like you to do, and I sent you a high payoff activities sheet, and that I'll send that information to you as well on high payoff activities, but it's really part of will be when we get into Success Unit 4. I'll actually send you all that, and but for right now, I want you to start getting focused on what are my most important high payoff activities. Now, this list that I have for you are the high payoff activities that I'd like you to be engaged with, and would suggest you be engaged with in your professional, in your business. Now, there are personal high payoff activities as well. Now, the number one high payoff activity that any of us can do, personally or professionally, is your Joy Shop. This is literally where you create your life. The thoughts that you have today create your experience tomorrow. I guarantee it. It's how life works. And so you want to really look at focusing and making sure you're doing that Joy Shop every morning. And you should be enjoying that. You should be looking forward to that. You should be so excited to get in that. This morning, I walked into it and I said, oh, this is so great. I get to create my life the way I want it to be. This is just fantastic. I mean, I was so fired up. And then I just start writing. I write pages in there. I was in my Joy Shop for, I think an hour and 15 minutes this morning, and just loving every minute of it. And I'm in a great place where I can, look out over and see the blue sky, and I oversee a forest, and so just with nature and and just get to a place where, and you don't have to be anywhere other than in your mind, be in a good place, a good feeling place. So number one high payoff activity is to pre-pave. And so I pre-pave my life with my Joy Shop, but I'd like you to start becoming very intentional at the end of every day to use that 1 to 31 tracking sheet and to start tracking what thoughts and or behaviors you want to have in your personal life and your professional life every day. And you'll see by the time we're done with this that it's going to be all really easy. Everything's just going to flow. You're going to have just, oh yeah, this is all I need to do in order to have the life of my dreams. And so, and again, you're going to be given all the forms and everything to every month be able to plan your month that you want to do it, and in essence plan your life. But every day I want to make sure that you pre-pave your day the way you want it. And again, the third step in the Joy Shop on your writing is to pre-pave your day, and that's the best time to do that. You can also, at the end of the day, just close out your day and then plan your next day and have your subconscious mind start working on, have your source start working on your next day. And so, talking about, hey, I want this meeting to be great, etc. So the more pre-paving you can do on what will be, the better your life is going to be. It's just as easy as that. And then if you don't plan your life, someone else will. The second one is your ideal referral partners. And so I'd like you all to send me an update on your discussion on with at least one ideal referral partner that you had this week. I'd like you, or within the last week, and I'd like you to, that will be one of your other fun success steps to take, is to attract into your life another ideal referral partner that you want to meet with and you want to talk. And so what is that discussion? And so I'm going to review that again, that I would just identify, ask for, where's an ideal referral partner? They're right under your nose. You have people that are out there wanting to help you build your business, wanting to help you be successful, and that they're all just waiting on your phone call. And they may not realize that, but they are. That they, and for sure that we don't realize sometimes people that are there. So think about your, the person that does your hair, about who you write checks to, about previous clients. Are just excellent to, meet with them, and especially people that are very influential, that are around a lot of people. That those are the people you want to meet with. Loan officers. I just, from a preferred vendor, a credit guy, just gave me a lead today, and when I say lead, it's literally a real estate lead, and I give it to my inner circle and people that I coach, and so they get leads, and I get them out of the blue because I asked for them. I mean, I'm technically I'm not I don't do any closes. I don't do any of that stuff with real estate, and yet I get leads all the time, and way more than most agents do, and it's all because I just asked for it. And so I have this preferred vendor that came and gave me a lead this morning, just out of the blue. And I want you to start expecting things out of the blue, but you have to ask for it. Source cannot deliver to you something that you don't ask for. You have to ask for it. And again, I would suggest you start general, but out of the blue, I'd like an ideal client to come to me. I'd like, just from out of the blue, an ideal client. I shared with you on how that we had, one agent from Austin that just decided, yeah, I'm going to get out of the blue, and so she allowed it in. And see, all you have to do is ask for it, and then not have any resistant thoughts or opposing thoughts to what you asked for, and it's only possible to get it. And really, technically, you'd only have to ask once. The issue has been, because we've been trained on, we got to be guarded, and we got to look at what's not working, and this is going to be a struggle, and so we got to, and so just give up all that and just simply ask. This is what I ask, and then expect it to happen to you. So ask for an ideal referral partner. When you meet with them, that meeting is that I thank you so much for being willing to help me. And they go, yeah, sure, how can I help you? And say, well, I'm looking at that I want to help at least 5 families a month with either buying or selling their homes. And you're so connected, and you meet so many different people that can you think of anybody that right now I'm looking for, and my ideal client is someone that is purchasing a home with at least $200,000, that is well qualified, have good credit. And I know you don't know all of this stuff about the ideal client that I have, and if the people you have in mind would qualify for all this, but that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for happy people, uplifting people, fun people. I want to work with fun people and help them get their perfect house, and so just lighten up on all this, and so can you think of anybody? And then they say, yeah, I actually have somebody that I think they've been looking for a home. Now, understand also, 1 out of 8 people are either looking to buy or sell a home at any given time. So and most people know at least 200 people. So, they know 4 or 5 people. They're just not thinking, but you help them to start focusing and attracting into their lives what you want, and that is these ideal clients. And so they'll start calling you, and I'm sharing with you. So there's loan officers, there's previous clients, but just ask for who is the perfect ideal referral partner that will bring me my ideal clients. And if you ask for that, and just continually ask every morning, ask for that, and be easy about that, and I want to hear from you guys on what out of the blue things happen, because it'll happen for you. It's the way that it works as long as you're really focused on this. That if you get off the phone today and or off the computer today and then just keep on doing the same old thing and keep on thinking the same way and keep on meeting the people the same way without thinking about their behaviors, etc., that you're going to get the same results. And I want you to improve your results. And I know you guys are already successful, but I know also that you want to become more successful. And this is the path to becoming more successful. It's an easy path and it's a fun path. So I want you to lighten up and just expect that you're going to have ideal referral partners and ideal clients that ask for. I want, out of the blue, an ideal client to call me up and want to list their home. And you ask that, and that it's coming your way. And that your source wants nothing but to give you everything that you're asking for. And so, but you got to watch what you're asking for, because all of your thoughts, that accumulation of all the thoughts on any particular subject is what you're going to get. And so contradictory thoughts going to throw off the ideal, the pureness of your asking, of wanting to have just out of the blue this ideal referral partner, this ideal client coming to me that I just love on how my business is growing, on how it's thriving, and how I'm thriving. And you keep on just having those wonderful thoughts and disregard any troubling thoughts, anything that's not working, that you're going to start seeing that it's only possible to then just have these thoughts on what you're looking for. So back to high payoff activities, the prepave. And if you don't prepave your life, somebody else will. And you'll be on somebody else's desires, if you will, that don't make you happy and ultimately don't make the world happy. As you thrive, the world thrives. And then to meet 5 times a week with ideal referral partners. And right now I'm just asking you 1 time a week. Just see on how easy this is, how fun it is, being able to meet with people that you know, that you enjoy. Test it with a relative. Go to a relative and just say, hey, I want to test this. We don't have to necessarily, or just say, you're going to test this. I want to do a pilot. Can you help me with this? And just kind of go over on how it's working, or do this with a friend. Okay. And then they'll offer you, expect that they'll offer you, you know what, now that you bring that up, I do have somebody I could refer you to. And so just have fun with all this, okay? The third high payoff activity is to meet with ideal prospects and that become ideal clients. And so again, if you just do these things, you really don't have to do much of anything else, that it's all just going to come to you. And the perfect ideas and inspired ideas of action will then come to you. I don't want you to do anything that you aren't inspired on. So that I think I was shared yesterday on, I'm doing some stuff that I'm not inspired to do, but I'm going to do it, but I have to do it. No, just leave those thoughts alone. That if you're inspired and you really like the idea, then go ahead and make those calls, or go to that networking meeting or whatever that is. But I want you to be inspired, and you will get inspired thoughts by your source as you start thinking about the things that you want. And as you get those inspired thoughts, you'll get also inspired people, circumstances, situations, and events in your life that are going to just make your heart sing. And you're just going to be so happy and just love all this added prosperity. And so it is done unto you as you believe. And we actually next week we'll be talking about our beliefs and how some of our beliefs don't serve us. But we'll be taking a look at that next week. And then so number 4 is meet and follow up with clients. So if you're doing these activities, that most people are doing less than 20% of these activities I have listed here, and 80% are low payoff activities. They're doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't do them any good. And so the odds are that you're doing many things right now that really don't pay off for you, and that I want you to start having high payoff activities. And that's when you are inspired. And you'll become inspired as you start asking and doing that step number 1, especially in the Joy Shop. And then finally, close and ask for referrals. And we don't ask for referrals because we think we're the only ones benefiting. The fact is, everybody benefits. That when you ask for a referral, you're giving an opportunity to that person to help another person, and it starts with helping you. But then it also goes and leads to helping the people that they know, that they love, their family, their clients, that might give them that more business, that whatever that it's going to help, and the world's going to be better by your expertise in real estate, by being able to offer that and serve that up. But if you don't ask for referrals, if you don't ask, you can't receive. And so it's up to you to ask, but you got to feel good about it, and just know that you ask for ideal referral partners, that you ask for referrals, that you ask for ideal clients coming to you, that they're going to come to you, and just expect it and just be happy for it. And when the first indication of any come, the next day you write down an appreciation. I so appreciate on this opportunity that I've been given, because that's calling forth then more of it. So with that, again, we covered this, our referral partnerships. Identify your ideal referral partner, contact them, ask for help, meet with them, share your ideal client, and ask for a personal introduction. So when you are meeting with them, that just don't take a name and number, that you want them to give them a call, to introduce you on email, in whatever means, and probably a call or in person is probably the best, to give you a personal introduction. That way the people trust you already, and you get out of the mode of selling, and you're into the mode of service. And so you can start coming from a mentality and an attitude of service to other people. And then that makes it all the more fun, all the more enjoyable for you and for the people that you're going to serve. And then I would meet, this is a formalized relationship. So they're not just going to, well, I'll think about it, give you a call, say, okay, great, and can we meet in 2 weeks again in order to discuss this? There's a lot of accountability in this, gentle, soft, and kind accountability, where if they say, hey, yeah, I know Joe, and I'll give Joe a personal introduction, then you say, great, when can you call Joe? And they say, tomorrow, Thursday, and you say, okay, great, then on Friday, I'll go ahead and call you and see if it's okay to go ahead and call them. And so that personal introduction is critical with it, and then meeting with them every 2 weeks with your referral partner to hold that accountability. So for next week, and so we're just about halfway done with our process, and we're a third of the way done with our process, and so what I'd like you to do is make sure you read your behavior and motivational assessments. So there's the 2 assessments in the 1 attachment that I had sent you, that it has, the more you can get into that, the more delighted you're going to be on opening people's shaded communication and more effectively communicating with them, which leads to a lot of your desires. Then I'm going to send you a Success Unit 2. And that's an MP3, and I'd like you to listen to that at least 6 times. That MP3 is going to be about understanding yourself and others, and will take you through basically what I took you through today, but it's just I want you to just start resonating with all this about understanding people, and that I love being a master of communication. I love being able to identify people and what their behaviors are and what motivates them and how to make decisions. I love that I'm aware of that during the day when I meet people over the phone, email, in person, that I'm thinking about what behavior style they are. As you just start embracing these ideas, you'll see that it's the easy path to all the things that you have wanted, and the fun path. It's not only easy, but it's fun, and you're going to enjoy this. And then start expecting, really with a passion, get that energy going from the universe of out of the blue things happening to you. And what things are those? That I call forth, I want an ideal referral partner. I want an ideal client. I want to close in May, so we're just closing up April now, that I would strongly suggest that you sit down for a half hour, that I normally take 2 hours, and I look at my month of May, and we'll get more into this in another session, but to look into, hey, what are the things that I want to do and have in May? I want to have the best May I've ever had. If you don't plan it so, it won't be so, but you're going to plan it now and say, this is the type of month that I want to have. I want to have 5 closings this month, and I just love that, and I expect them to come out of the blue. And then finally, to feel good every day. It's all about that, because you then line up with your source, and your source will offer you all the thoughts, all the feelings to the things that you have asked for, that you desire. So you aren't some puppet on strings, that you're the one that commands and says, this is what I want. And then your source will give you the thoughts, will give you the feelings, will give you the people, the circumstances, and events to have all of your dreams come true. And then finally, on how to feel good, the best way to do that and to really start changing the way that you think and start allowing your source in order to guide you, love you, and support you is to do your Joy Shop every day. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. It's been a heck of a day. That I can tell that you guys are enlightened, that you're fired up, you're ready to go out and have life the way you want it. So expect that to happen. Let me know if I can help you in any way, and I love you and expect the best. All the best. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate you, man. Bye-bye.